If you lose to Trump, it is going to be on the record. We warned you, I warned you. I came in the race in a crazy attempt to make a difference because we're on a collision course with fascism. And if Joe Biden says, yes, I am that selfish, yes, I don't care about you guys, I don't care if democracy's on the line, I don't care if I'm 80, I don't care if I'm 180, my legacy and my ego is more important than anything else in the world. So I will stay here and try to get a two-term president because 2 terms is better than 1 term. And guys, and if you're in the press or you're out there as a voter, you all know that's what he's thinking. You all know that, right? You know that it's all about his ego and it is intensely selfish. And I'm gonna say that 2,000 times on every show until he gets it through his thick head. Stop being selfish. Democracy is actually on the line. gforemanbcp.com.
As I mentioned, there's a big announcement that will basically take up the entirety of the second hour of the show today. Here to make that announcement in the capacity as a guest is Cenk Uygur.
Yes.
Cenk, you do have this big announcement, although you've already kind of made it on the set of Breaking Points, but now it's official.
Yeah, no, I had not yet made up my mind, but I have now, and I have filed. I will be running for president.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We gotta talk about the biggest Looney Tune in the world in this video, and that is Cenk Uygur, okay? The founder of the Young Turks, okay? The failing progressive news channel on YouTube, okay? Because this guy's Trump derangement syndrome is so bad, it's so terrible, okay? He has a severe case that he has decided that he's going to run for president, even though clearly, constitutionally, he is not allowed to be president because he is not a natural born citizen, okay? He was not born here in the United States. However, he's challenging that, right? He's gonna challenge this, okay? Even though he knows he's not eligible, he's gonna challenge it, okay? He's gonna run for president anyways because he's afraid, he's scared to death that Trump is going to beat Biden, okay? So again, I did a video about this before where he hinted that he would run for president. But now that he's officially running for president, we got to talk about it again. And I'm going to go ahead and play the clip of his announcement and his reasoning for why he's announcing. And then also on top of that, I'm going to also play a clip of him explaining how he's going to become president or why he's eligible to be president, even though the Constitution says that he's not. But before I play that clip, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. Excess belly fat has been deemed the most dangerous type of fat because it is linked to so many different health issues. Interestingly enough, apple body shapes or large waistlines put you at a much higher risk than other body types. This is essentially because excess body fat grows deep in the abdominal cavity, and this puts pressure on your body's most vital organs. This is a big reason why myself, and so many other people are turning to this amazing new substance, Belly Trim by BioTrust, which is thoughtfully formulated with science-backed ingredients provided by Mother Earth that promote reduced fat storage, help to speed up the breakdown of fat, support weight management, reduce cravings, and boost metabolism. Simply take a serving each morning and in the evening to give your body the nutrients that it needs to supercharge your weight loss efforts. The best part I love is that you can get 51% off for the rest of the month or until they sell out, whichever comes first. Plus, you'll receive several additional gifts valued at over $500 with every order for a limited time, including free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, and 2 free new ebooks titled Top 10 Foods That Burn Belly Fat and Top 8 Exercises to Reduce Belly Fat at no additional cost to you. Go to trimwithpatriot.com, that's trimwithpatriot.com, or click the link down in the description below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
Of the United States of America. Gforemanbcp.com, and the idea here, guys, is let's change the course. Right now, Joe Biden is down 24 points in the economy, 19 points on jobs when he actually did better on jobs than Trump did. He's down 13 points from where he was in 2020. He is not going to win. I am running. Yes, I am a break glass in case of emergency candidate. It should not have been me. It should have been someone else, but unfortunately it was not anyone else. And now there's only 4 months left. We must change course. He has at best a 10% chance of winning. Donald Trump is an actual fascist. So I am running as a proxy. I'm running to win, but I'm also running as a proxy for any other candidate. We have got to get Biden out of the race. Thank you for winning in 2020. But if he loses this time around, it's not just his problem, it's all of our problems. I actually think democracy is on the line. And so if it takes me running, then that's what I'm gonna do. And we're all gonna do it together. And by the way, and I'll say this up front and then I'll let you ask all your questions, Anna. If I do this alone and it's just my idea, it's never gonna work, okay? I'm either your voice or I'm not. If you guys want to have a stronger candidate in this race and you wanna beat Donald Trump, you're gonna make that happen. gforemanbcp.com or in any way, volunteering, whatever you want, okay? But if I'm not your voice, I have no chance at all. So let's see if we can bring something good into the world and make a giant difference together. And you know me, I always believe that we can make a difference together. And this is the time to do it before the primaries are over. So my job is to be basically Paul Revere. Biden's gonna lose, Biden's gonna lose, Biden's gonna lose. We gotta go now. We have to change that dynamic. So I'm gonna, yes, pressure Biden to get out of the race. So if he leaves now, he's a hero. He did something incredibly magnanimous. He beat Trump last time. He was a good steward of the economy. So he retires a hero. But if he stays in, I'm gonna explain to people that he's the villain. And if he loses to Trump, if I'm wrong and he beats Trump, then great. Then my apologies to Joe Biden. But that's not gonna happen, and we all know that's not gonna happen. So the idea is to create enough pressure on Biden. And here's how you get the pressure. One of the ways you get the pressure is everybody thinks that I have almost no chance of winning, right? Well, let's keep it real. Everybody knows that, right? They're like, oh, your name is funny. You weren't born here. You're a progressive. You're an outsider, et cetera, right? If I get to 20 or 25, panic sets in. There's no question panic sets in because there's two things that happen there. One, the other candidates go, well, Biden is enormously weak, right? Number two is Biden begins to realize the handwriting's on the wall. If this Cenk Uygur, who he probably can't pronounce, has gotten to 25, the handwriting's on the wall, he's gotta go. And by the way, Anna, the reason why this is realistic is because there are a lot of people in Washington, inside the establishment, that are trying to get Joe Biden to drop out. We need to help them.
Yeah, so before Cenk gets into his ridiculous argument about how he can be president despite not actually being born here, I'm going to show you guys that later, but I didn't want him to just keep talking. I want to address some of his claims and his thesis here, okay? Because just for a second, we're going to assume that Cenk actually can be president, even though he can't, right? Let's assume that he can be president. It's never going to happen because he's not going to come anywhere close to polling at 20 or 25% against Biden, okay? The whole thesis of what he's saying is that he basically said, look, guys, I don't have a real shot. I know I don't. The whole point of me being in a race is to try to force Democrats who are more viable than Joe Biden to get in the race, right? So he wants to force Joe Biden to drop out by having somebody like Gavin Newsom or a Gretchen Whitmer or a Josh Shapiro, right? Just some Democrat that he thinks is better than Trump, okay, or better than Biden, to jump into the race because this guy is so afraid of Trump becoming president again. Again, imagine being a guy that is a leader of a movement where you have people struggling, okay? The economy is terrible. The border is wide open. Crime is out of control, right? Imagine having a guy that runs for president simply because he doesn't want the guy that can actually fix these problems that, again, we didn't have under Trump. He doesn't want Trump to win. That's how bad this guy's Trump derangement syndrome is, which tells you that he cares nothing about the actual issues, right? He's pretending that Biden actually has done good things for the economy when that's just objectively false. But again, the premise of what he's saying, his whole argument for why he's running is so flawed because he is not going to get the 20-25%. RFK couldn't even get the 20-25%. And I guarantee you, RFK has way more support than this guy does. Okay, now he did run in California, right? Cenk, he ran in California. He ran in a district that apparently is a little bit more moderate, okay, than most of California. And he got destroyed, okay? He only got 6% of the vote. And he has, what, millions and millions and millions of followers, right? I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration. I'm not sure if the Young Turks actually have 1 million real followers anymore. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But regardless, this guy, he can't even win in his own state, in his own district. But he thinks that he can get the 20-25% of support in this country when Cornel West couldn't do it, RFK can't do it, Marianne Williamson can't do it. You can't do it, bro. You can't do it. And even if you did get the 20-25%, would that really force another Democrat to jump into the race? Again, this is clearly a grift, right? It's a grift. This guy is delusional. His Trump derangement syndrome has got to the phase of delusion, right? Downright delusion. It's hilarious, right? It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. I'm so serious. Anytime I think about this guy running for president and how serious he is, okay, I just laugh my ass off because it's just so funny. It's something that it will never happen. He's so deranged, right? He is. He needs to lay on somebody's couch. Okay, it's not happening. It's just not. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and play a clip here of him making his argument for why basically the Fifth Amendment cancels out part of the Constitution that would prohibit him from running for president because he's not a natural born citizen. He's going to rely on some random argument that some random lawyer or, constitutional scholar made. He's going to rely on that argument to say that he's eligible and that he's going to basically take his case to the conservative Supreme Court for why he's eligible to be president of the United States, because apparently he's doing this for the other 25 million Americans who weren't actually born here that can't run for president as well. Take a look.
Only US born citizens can run for president. You disagree with that. Why?
Yeah, the case law is completely on my side. So this conventional wisdom, we've all heard it. We heard it in 8th grade civics class and it's stuck in our heads. It was an easy thing to remember, right? Oh, if you're not born here. And by the way, there's 25 million Americans who are naturalized citizens. And every one of us has heard about 200 times in our lives, you can't run for president. Now, look, guys, the people who say that, they just remember it from school. They don't mean any harm by it, right? But for those of us who hear it, what we're hearing is you're not really fully American. We don't trust you. You're from a different country. Schneider v. Rusk has already decided this issue. So they had an issue that came up where naturalized citizens were being treated different than natural born citizens. So here's what the court wrote. This is the Supreme Court in that case. The statute proceeds on the impermissible assumption that naturalized citizens as a class are less reliable and bear less allegiance to this country than do the native born. This is an assumption that is impossible for us to make. Moreover, while the Fifth Amendment contains no equal protection clause, it does forbid discrimination that is so unjustifiable as to be violative of due process. A native-born citizen is free to reside abroad indefinitely without suffering loss of citizenship. The discrimination aimed at naturalized citizens drastically limits their rights to live and work abroad in a way that other citizens may. It creates indeed a second-class citizenship. So the Supreme Court ruled it is unconstitutional to discriminate against naturalized citizens. This issue is actually already settled, just no one knows it. So I'm gonna try to get this albatross off of all of our necks. If you're one of those 25 million Americans, that alone is a reason to go to gforemanbcp.com and support what I'm doing, because I'm going to try my best to make us all 100% citizens. And I think the Supreme Court is clearly on our side. I'll read one last thing. Thank you for humoring me on this. The law review article of University of Illinois concluded this should be the end of the story. Schneider is clear that treating natural-born citizens and naturalized citizens differently is contrary to the Fifth Amendment. Forbidding naturalized citizens from being president or vice president is a form of discrimination that limits their options and treats them as second-class citizens. It is not permissible. It is unconstitutional.
So while I agree with that take, I certainly agree with that take, the Constitution also says the following. Okay, so this is Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5 of the United States Constitution. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States.
So Anna, it's a great question, especially because for folks who are not familiar with constitutional law, but although all of you will get it instantly, the amendments obviously amend the original Constitution.
Right.
And what I just read to you in Schneider is the Supreme Court said very clearly that the Fifth Amendment amended the Constitution to make naturalized citizens have the same exact rights because of due process. And later, Fifth Amendment jurisprudence in America also includes the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So if you want to undo that, you'd have to wipe away a giant chunk of American jurisprudence, which they would have to go wildly against precedent to do. And so that part has simply been amended out of the Constitution. It is absolutely clear as Schneider. And by the way, if you're saying, yeah, but Cenk, are you gonna have the resources to be able to do this? They take this case to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, it's a good question. And are you lawyering up? Like, what's your plan? Because this will be challenged if you are seen as enough of a threat to the Democratic Party.
No question. So I have lawyered up. I have the same lawyer Bernie Sanders used.
This guy is such a Looney Tune. Okay, I want you guys to understand what this man is saying. Okay, he's basically arguing that the Fifth Amendment cancels out the section of the Constitution that expressly clarifies who's eligible to be president, who's not be president, in which they say that only a natural-born citizen or a citizen at the time in which the Constitution is adopted is eligible to be president of the United States. He said, no. The Fifth Amendment cancels that out. Again, now this is based off some legal argument of some random guy, right? Again, not anything that this dude actually came up with himself, right? He went on the internet and read some random argument that some other Looney Tune wrote. And now he's trying to apply that and say, look, I'm going to go to the Supreme Court and argue this in front of a conservative Supreme Court with a Bernie Sanders lawyer. Boy, oh boy. So I actually found this article that somebody should send Cenk so that he can read about why his silly argument is actually Looney Tunes, right? In fact, this article right here by Michael C. Dorff, who is a constitutional law professor at Cornell University, basically that's essentially what they're calling this, right? This same argument by the guy that Cenk is citing that argues that basically the Fifth Amendment cancels out part of the Constitution that says that you have to be a natural-born citizen to actually be eligible to be president of the United States. Again, that is Looney Tunes, right? This is what this guy is saying. And I'm going to read a little bit of it. Again, I'm not a constitutional scholar, so I can't really explain it to you guys as well as somebody else probably can. But I'm going to link this article so that you guys can see why Cenk's argument is stupid and why it probably won't work. So I'm actually going to read here, okay? He's going to talk about again, this question, did the Fifth Amendment impliedly repeal the natural-born citizen requirement for president? So let's read here. It says, does this argument work? On the face of it, no. As the late John Hart Ely wrote in a 2001 Virginia Law Review article, quote, Article 1's provision that the president must be a natural born as opposed to a naturalized citizen would obviously violate the Equal Protection Clause were it not in the Constitution. Given that it is, however, it would take a lunatic to argue that it is unconstitutional. Okay, so again, that's what Cenk tried to argue, that basically a part of the Constitution, something that is expressly written in the Constitution, is unconstitutional because of some vaguely applied other section of the Constitution, right? And so we're going to continue here. There's a little sloppiness in the foregoing. Eli ought to have cited the equal protection component of the Fifth Amendment due process clause rather than the 14th Amendment's equal protection clause, but his core point is right. No. Now, the reason why they're distinguishing between the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment is because the 14th Amendment applies equal protection more so to the state, right? If it was deployed in the state. But when it comes to the federal government, the Fifth Amendment. In the rest of the article, Eli distinguishes between two sorts of interclausal immunity, i.e. two sorts of arguments that the acceptance of a practice in one clause of the Constitution precludes its implicit invalidation by another clause, where a constitutional provision expressly adopts a rule, such as the allocation of 2 senators to each state and the natural-born citizenship requirement for the presidency. Eli says that it is loony to infer its implied repeal by some other vaguer constitutional provision. However, where a constitutional provision supplies solid evidence about what its framers thought about some practice but does not actually contain a mandate, then there need not be interclausal immunity. Yeah, so again, he goes into more detail about some examples of this, okay, and why this argument is stupid, right? But yeah, in general, I think what is happening here with Cenk is that this is clearly and obviously a grift. Okay, he's trying to raise a whole bunch of money. Okay, he's trying to draw attention to his failing YouTube channel. And that's what this is, right? And also he has Trump derangement syndrome. He's so afraid that Trump is going to win, he's going to become president again, that he really believes in his mind that he can get 20 to 25% of Democrat voters to actually vote for him in a primary, which is insane to think about. Like, it's absolutely insane to think that he actually can get that much support when RFK couldn't even get that much support. Cornel West can get that much support. Marianne Williamson can get that much support. And here's the thing. Cenk is a progressive, right? He's a progressive just like Marianne Williamson. So it's not even like he's bringing anything different to the table. He's going to split the vote with Marianne Williamson. Now, if Cornel West was still in the Democrat primary, I actually believe he dropped out. I think he's now independent. If Cornel West was still in, he would be splitting the vote with Cornel West. Again, none of these other people could get anywhere close to 25%. But this guy thinks he can, even though he couldn't even win an election in his own state. Again, this is Trump derangement syndrome, guys. This is what it makes you do. You're disconnected from reality. This dude needs to lay on somebody's couch, bruh. I can't believe that Anna Kasparian sat up there with a straight face, right, and nodded her head along while this guy made this. Again, I just showed you guys. Other law professors have called a Looney Tunes argument, right? A lunatic argument for why this man can run for president. She sat out there with a straight face and agreed with it. And she thinks this man is running a serious campaign, bro. Again, it's embarrassing. It really is. This man should be laughed at, okay? Because that's the level of lunacy that this is, right? It really is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.